electric car. You want something sensible, but you don't want an SUV or a crossover or some pointless city car. You want practicality, good looks, range, but you don't want to spend 100 grand in the process. Yeah, if that's your shopping list, you're bang out of luck, I'm afraid. Sorry.
Unless you go for something like the very different Vauxhall Astra Sports Tourer. It's one of very few electric estate cars on the market that ticks most of those boxes. On the surface, it seems as if Vauxhall have cracked it.
Apart from one small detail, the price. Now, this is not £100,000, but guess how much this Astra Sports Tourer will set you back? £30,000? 35? 40? This is a £45,000 car. Now, I don't know about you, but 45k feels like an awful lot of money for an Astra.
Back in the year 2000, an Astra would set you back 17 grand. Okay, so that's £31,000 in today's 2024 money, adjusted for inflation. So where's that extra £14,000 going?
Well, it's not a massive battery because underneath the floor of this thing is a 54 kilowatt hour battery, and actually only 50 kilowatt hours of that is actually usable, and the cash hasn't gone on a massive motor because that only has 156 horsepower, giving you a 0 to 62 time of 9.2 seconds.
So not a face-meltingly compelling proposition on the face of it so far, especially when you can pick up rivals like a BYD Seal with 100 miles more range, 50 more horsepower for all the same price. It makes you wonder, who's going to buy this car?
And before we answer that, a little recommendation for you. If you like podcasts and you'd like to listen to one that drives really interesting celebrities on a route unique to their story, then I have something right up your street. Hosted by yours truly, Autotrader's podcast Show on the Road is back for season 2, taking celebrities out of a studio and into a car with the likes of Billy Munger, Zara McDermott and Ollie Murs. Hi!
Nice to see you. Mind if I hop in? This thing's got no grip, no power. I'd still win.
House every weekend. You know that one?
Oh wow, lovely car. Rascal colour. Just saying it would take me a couple of laps. I'm trying to look humble, right?
Have a listen to it wherever you usually get your podcasts, and check out exclusive footage of the drives on our dedicated new YouTube channel. Check out the link below. So, where were we? Ah yes, so who is actually going to buy the Astra? Well, people who like estates, I guess, even though there aren't actually many of you. But if you do like a car with this sort of body style, then this is a really good looking car. I particularly like Vauxhall's new black mask design, nice black badge, and then all of that black covers up the sensors in the lower grille. Nice L-shaped adaptive LED lights as well, which are very good at night. And then around the side, well, it's an estate, so it's long, but it is still quite interesting. You've got more black accenting around the windows, around the door mirrors, and around the roof, which you can also get in the body colour, and on these 18-inch wheels. This is your charging port, which charges at 100 kilowatts DC. More on that in a moment. Around the back is probably the most interesting angle of the Astra Electric Sports Tourer, and also definitely the most useful. Looks-wise, it's rather nice. Has this integrated rear wing, again in the black, a high-level brake light, which resembles that of a Formula One car, and again these L-shaped LED lights, which are rather nice. And now to the feature that makes this car unique, the boot, which can be opened with the fob, a button or a foot waft to reveal a whopping 516 litres of boot space. That is way more than your average sized car. You've got a couple of hooks for your shopping, some side storage cubbies. Underfloor storage is not ideal, but if you pull these levers here and here, rear bench folds down, then you have a ginormous 1,553 litres of space. That is perfect for your Sunday trip to the tip. Well, inside, looks like an Astra, which is no bad thing, especially for this generation of car. However, I do have some gripes that I'm going to get out of the way first. First up, I am not a fan of this scratchy black plastic that surrounds the door handles and the door pins. I think that looks cheap. I'm also not a fan, while it looks very pretty, this piano black gloss finish, within 30 seconds it's covered in dust and paw print marks and smudges. It's not good.
The seats on this Ultimate trim are finished in Alcantara, which you'll also find on parts of the door. There's fake leather on the centre console, which provides a small amount of storage, but there's also room for stuff in a small compartment on the top of the console, where you'll find a wireless charging pad and twin USB ports, as well as cup holders that you can hide away if cup holders offend you. Oh, and there's a very handy little storage compartment here for stashing odds and ends.
Then the screens. Now, they're not massive, which is not a bad thing. However, the centre one is extremely unresponsive. And earlier, the driver screen completely switched off and I had to restart the car 3 times before it came back on again. That is not good. Positively, you've got lots of nice, large, physical buttons here for your climate control, your heated front and rear screens, and your heated seats, which I love. However, look how small these buttons are down here, the P and B. I'm going to have another rant about those a little bit later on, so if you like rants, stick around. For now though, I'm going to go for a drive. Okay, first impressions, slow. I mean, normally you'd expect electric cars to have amazing acceleration, but not this thing. It's slower than, well, most new cars probably. It's slower than a Nissan Leaf. I mean, it's responsive, there's torque, but it's just really not fast. But it is comfortable. The seats are great, very supportive. They're endorsed by AGR, a German institute who promote back health apparently. And on that topic, the suspension is very compliant, especially compared to most EVs. I mean, it definitely rides better than a Model 3, for example.
It's not the quietest car, there's some road noise, but not enough to be a deal breaker, and wind noise is kept to a tolerable minimum.
The steering's light, which makes it fun to drive around town. You can change the drive mode from eco to normal to sport, but none of them actually affect how the steering feels, or how fast it goes for that matter. A bit more responsive in sport mode, but not exactly faster. But we have established that it's slow, so I shall stop complaining. The infotainment system is okay. The stereo is pretty average, but it does the job. There's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and usefully, a voice command system powered by artificial intelligence, so you can ask it random questions and get pretty useful answers. And I tell you what, that feature specifically is very useful for when you're on a long road trip with children who are asking really awkward questions. So, well done for that, Vauxhall.
Well done for the handling too. Even though the car isn't the fastest, it does handle quite well. With the battery located in the bottom and adding 31% more torsional stiffness than the petrol Astra Sports Tourer, the car feels secure. That typical EV bugbear of weight isn't too much of an issue either. It's only 1,760 kilograms. That's only 68 kilograms heavier than the plug-in hybrid model.
The range is good as well. I mean, the battery might not be the biggest, but because it's relatively light, the car will do 258 miles on a single charge. Although, in the real world, that actually often ends up being closer to about 200, especially if motorway driving is involved.
Charging isn't especially fast though. The Astra will only top up at a maximum rate of 100 kilowatts when rapid charging, or more like 85 kilowatts when going from 10 to 80%, which should take about 30 minutes.
Okay, I mentioned earlier that I wanted to have a little rant about something, and here it is. So, the gear shifter. I do not like this. This feels very naff. And even worse, look at this little parking button. It's so small. It's smaller than the buttons for your heated windscreens or your heated steering wheel, as if it's far less important somehow. And sometimes when you press it, absolutely nothing happens. So if you're parking on an incline and you press it, your car will roll. So you have to slam your foot on the brake. Makes no sense. And here is another annoying thing. The start button. When you push it, you expect to be able to put your car into gear straight away, right? Sometimes it takes about 10 seconds before you can do that. It's so irritating. What else can I moan about? Yeah, the sunroof. That's too small for a £45,000 car. The biggest gripe of all, though, has to be the price. £45,000. That is a lot of money for this car, especially when rival cars do offer more bang for your buck. I guess it makes a little bit more sense, though, if you went for leasing and you paid monthly. Check out Autotrader's lease deals in the link below. So, is the Vauxhall Astra electric sports tourer any good? Well, the individual elements might suggest that it's not particularly cutting edge. The power, the speed, the battery, for example, and the price is pretty punchy. But when you look at the car as a complete package, it makes a lot more sense than the sum of its parts suggest. So actually, I think it's a cracking little family car.
Sure, more compelling propositions are out there, but if you're looking for an estate that's electric, this thing is definitely worth taking for a test drive.